What's up? Welcome back to El.P. Today, we're taking a look at the 204 Toyota Hilux Surf. With one of the longest names at the period, Toyota Hilux Surf SSRX Limited 6th Edition 4-wheel drive. Mouthful, right? The 4th generation, which was and still is a popular model for the more adventurous human, was released back in November 2002 and discontinued in Japan in 2009. Just to set the record straight, the Toyota Hilux Surf is just the Japanese twin of the Toyota 4Runner. The differences are minimal, if not any, in some generations. Story time. In the beginning, the Surf was little more than a compact Toyota pickup truck, with the back of the pickup removed, a couple of seats added, and a fiberglass top cover. Eventually, the Surf underwent some major transformation to become one of the most capable SUVs available. The first and second generation Toyota Hilux Surf were based on the Toyota Hilux pickup, featuring pretty much the same engine and transmission options, as well as the 4-wheel drive setup that makes the Hilux one of the most popular pickups in the world. The third and fourth generation Surfs were essentially a Land Cruiser Prado chassis with a different body. The Toyota Fortuner and the FJ Cruiser replaced the Surf when it was discontinued in 2009, and the Prado was just happy it didn't have to compete for popularity. You'll still find a lot of first and second gen Surfs running around just because they refuse to die. And the owners know this, so parting them with the Surf may be tricky. The 4Runner is currently still in production, sadly in left-hand drive only, and still using the body-on-frame construction with a solid rear axle for strength and durability. Trim/model range is a long story. Here's what I was able to gather. You can pause to read through. Some trim levels get 2 mirrors mounted on the interior D pillars, that's the rear back pillars, just inside the boot, which, as they said, made it easier to see pedestrians and cars approaching from each side. But I think this didn't make much sense, being that the time you take to concentrate and focus your mind to comprehend what is what, you'd rather just use them to check out your camping gear or how your pet is being thrown from side to side on bad terrain. The Surf from the back is not a small car. This car is quite big. I find it really big and menacing, and the whole look looks aggressive. And being in this color, the black, you kind of scare people on the road with this machine. This was the 4th generation, so you get the same underpinnings that's shared across the board. And by saying that, I mean that this car is a body on frame kind of thing. So you get a sandwich. You get the frame of the car and this body put on top. And the frame being modular, you can put different kinds of bodies on top of the frame. Underneath, you get your full-size spare wheel, spare tire right here. Getting to the back, you can either use your key or you can press the electric button here at the back and open it. But for this car, the car had an incident last night, so I can't manage to open the door, and the window is blocked. It goes only until here because the issue happened around this area. But something was squeezed, some mechanism or something went loose, so you can't really do that. You can lower the back window from inside the car or from the back. Just take your key, turn it anti-clockwise, it goes down. Naturally, it should go down all the way, but as I said, there's an issue happening around here, and also it's reaching and hitting something, it can go all the way down. I like this feature, and the feature's been there on all the other Surf from before, or the Toyota 4Runners, depending on which country you're in. But I like the feature, being that you can drive this way and get more airflow into the car. The only downside to this is when you're going at higher speeds, spoiler doesn't do much to regulate the airflow at the back, so you get your exhaust fumes coming back into the car. Taking it back is the same, just go now clockwise and it draws back. Being that I can't open the boot, I still have to show you what's in there, right? So let's go. So as you can see, that's your boot area. This is with the load floor raised. It has 2 levels. You can either put it all the way down or in this way to have more space underneath. So that bend over there. 2 levels of your boot space. You get your tire removal kit down the side, and when you come this side, there's nothing much. So taking this down, you pull it up, it flattens and it drops. And that's your boot. It's quite massive and you get a lot of space. A lot of space. So let's get to the back seats and see what you have there. Getting to the back, the door opens enough. It's not 90, but it's wide enough to put in a child seat, and not any child seat, a big child seat. There's provision for 2 child seats here at the back on both outer seats. You get your markings on both sides, and entry is made easy by having this step here. Without the step, you'd have to lift your leg all the way up, and for children or shorter people, it would be quite an issue, being that this car is so tall. But you get a grab handle here and a step, and you get in quite easily. Feel of the door. Yeah, it's there. It feels solid while it feels hollow at the same time. I don't know if you get what I mean, but that's the feel of the door. Getting comfortable. One thing I've noticed, the under seat space is quite tight. My feet are already touching the top of the seat, which I don't get in many cars. Second thing is that I have a lot of space. I have a lot of head space, I have a lot of knee space with this driver's seat at my driving position. So how's the feel of the space? The seats are comfortable, the headrest is just right, and the car being so high, I have good visibility of outside and kind of like look down on everything else around me. This specific one is a 5-seater. You don't have third row seats. The third row seats were only optional on the later models of this car. Another thing with these cars that have body on frame, the seat floor usually is pretty high, being that it's a sandwich, as I said. So the car floor is quite flat. Even the center seat usually have that big transmission tunnel on rear-wheel drive cars. This case is a 4-wheel drive, and the transmission tunnel, it's not so big. The center seat is comfortable. It's more comfortable than most cars I've been in, being that I don't feel my bum hitting the bottom of the seat. I have enough headspace. I have enough leg space. If I want, I can even man spread, and the guys on my sides will still have space. It's a very spacious car to have 3 gears here at the back. The materials in this car are cloth, and this car being a 204 model year, the materials are keeping up pretty well. For practicality, you have dual backseat pockets, which you don't see anymore these days. Whoever designed this car put practicality and comfort first in the interior, and I like that. For your armrest, you get a pretty massive armrest because it spans the whole center seat. 2 guys here at the back is basically pure luxury. Your cup holders are under here, and you get a cup holder and a tray, and it extends all the way to somewhere near touching your center console. On this car, it's stuck. The spring isn't pushing it forward. I bet it's just dirt and edge of the car, but this would be an easy fix. Just remove your armrest, clean all the components, and put it back together, and it will just spring out easily. So that's the back seat. Let's get to the front seat and see what we have there. Get into the front, the door opens wide for easy entry. You have grab handles to help ease of entry, plus a footstep. The seats are very adjustable. You can move them forward to that point. I like manual seats because it's a quick back and forward movement. You can move your seat up by a dial on the side and take it back down. You can recline it back and forth real quick. All adjustments on the driver's seats and on the passenger seats are all manual, except your lumbar support, which is your back support. You have the telescoping bit. You flick there and it moves forward or backwards, and to tilt it up and down, you get a secondary switch here on the side. You pull on that and it goes all the way up or goes all the way down. So getting in, you can either use the grab handle, the steering wheel, or door as your support. You have the footstep to help of ease. So you can do the mheshimiwa thing that guys do, stand up and get in. Getting comfortable, I have just enough headspace, surprisingly. Let me see if I lower the seat down, which is good, then I have just a bit more, about like 2.5 to 3 inches of space here on my head. The feel of the space is good. You sit quite high up, and the bonnet even feels higher than where I'm at. Seeing objects in front of the bonnet might be tricky, but you just have to be very careful as you're maneuvering this big car. And funny thing, this car is rated as a mid-size SUV. Compared to what we have these days as mid-size SUV, this is a full-size SUV in this day and era. Visibility all round is good. For practicality, you have a lot of storage here. You have a massive center console that you could fit that fridge you see in Range Rovers and Toyota Land Cruisers easily in here, and still have space behind your fridge. You get your ashtray that's removable. 2 big cup holders. I can put my fist, and I have big hands, so you can put massive bottles of water in your center console. If you have a small drink like this, you can push that thing out to hold your drink, not to move around in the place. You have more space here just before you get your temperature switches and your multimedia system. Your glove box is a good size. You can fit most things that you need here, and you have this top space to separate more important things you need to have in your glove box, maybe like your passports, because this car is made for exploration. At the top, you have your sunglasses holder that's lined in felt, so your sunglasses won't get scratched when they're up here. You get a sunroof. They might have issues at this point of their life. You can still make it work as long as the mechanism did not break or anything, but it's an easy fix. The only major issue I see is the dashboard. There are a bit of cracks here and there, but I bet this is just the material they used that's cracking up right now. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything else that will tell me this car is suffering from the disease we call age. Yeah, it's pretty good, just the dashboard. For connectivity, you have a 12 volt, 120 watt port here, and you have your cigarette lighter. You don't get the manual 4-wheel drive knob here, but you get this 4-wheel drive knob here, and that's your diff lock on the side, plus your AC 100 volt button. And these are the buttons what I was talking about at the rear. Take down your rear window and take it back up. See that bit there? That's your 360 parking cameras. Back in 2004, that was what you used to use to see your blind spots as you park, but it was a great feature to help people to maneuver the big SUVs into tight places and get out of those tight spaces. That's the front seat. Let's get into the bonnet and see what you have under there. Opening the bonnet is done from underneath here. Flip that, push the button just on the right side of the Toyota badge, and you lift up. And the bonnet is quite big, so having gas struts to hold up your bonnet is sweet. The Japan version of the Hilux Surf is powered by 4 engines, from a 2.7 litre engine with 160 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque, to a 4 litre V6 engine with 249 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque, if you want more power. The diesel engine is a 3 litre intercooler turbo diesel that generates 163 horsepower and 253 pound-feet of torque, which isn't all that, but capable nonetheless. The available petrol-powered 4 litre V6 and 4.7 litre V8 engines are more powerful, though not as popular as the turbo diesel. Still, they are exceptionally fuel efficient for the size and power output. Common issues. There's not much to report here with the Toyota Hilux Surf, other than the cooling system and a few other bits to just touch on. Being that they were designed for Japan, therefore the cooling system isn't designed for over-the-top hot regions. Keep an eye on your temperature gauge in hot areas. Automatic transmissions will be better in the bush. Things to watch out for are like, high kilometers is an issue because some engines have a timing belt rather than a timing chain, and the belts need to be changed every 150 kilometers. All Toyota Surfs of this era came with Toyota Star safety system. Side torso airbags for the front rows, as well as the side curtain airbags for the front and rear rows, were optional on the 203 to 2007 models and became standard in the 208 models. The Insurance Institute of Highway Safety rated the Forerunner as good overall in frontal, offset, and side impact crash tests, though poor rating for the rear impact protection. To conclude, the Surf is widely regarded as an easy-to-drive SUV that does exactly what it says on the box. It's the perfect mix of reliability, comfort, and utility. Even earlier models are pretty much unstoppable off-road, which makes them a popular vehicle for people whose driving needs include plenty of off-tarmac routes. You may ask, what about parts, LP? Being that it was discontinued, well, getting parts is a non-issue, just for the fact that the Hilux pickup and the Prado are still around. So if you're in the market for a capable family cruiser, both on and off the beaten path, with the backing of Toyota's mainstay of reliability, the Toyota Hilux Surf is a good choice, especially being that you're getting essentially all the good genes the Prado has at a way better price. If you've come this far, thanks for watching. If you're in the market for SUVs, here's another video for SUVs, and if not, check out my other reviews, and don't forget to subscribe with the button here below. Cheers, and I appreciate you guys.